Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, folks. Call the meeting to order. First meeting of December 2025, the second last meeting of this year. Welcome, everyone. The council members are all here, my understanding. And it's my honor to acknowledge we are gathered in the William Lake First Nations Wapnak Peoples Unceded Territory. Like always, thanks to the chief, elders, the nation allowing us to get together to do the business. Adoption of the agenda is on the table. Councillor Flaspohler, Councillor Nelson. Any deletion? Oh, sorry, Councillor Flaspohler, please.
For discussion for this council in regards to some recent events, and I'd like to title it Local Official Conduct, Respect and Appropriate Apology for Discussion. I had a recommendation that ties into that, but I also have other discussion items. I have distributed that as per.
Thank you.
To all members.
Is it okay to the mover and seconder, Councillor Flaspohler and Councillor Nelson?
Absolutely.
Excellent. All in favor?
I've got one.
Oh, sorry.
Could I add forestry resolution as a late item, Your Worship?
You betcha. And God, that's a motion of the motion or motion of notice of motion.
A motion for tonight.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. With the two additional items, please go. Okay, I guess we can before we vote. Councillor Nelson, you want to give some background
Yeah. It's,
on your motion?
basically, the recommendation will be dealing with local layoffs and forestry issues. Action oriented.
It's a reference to the forestry. We all heard the news today. In Crofton, sawmill have a shutdown, 370 direct jobs, and lots of noise going on in Victoria. So all in favor with the amendments? Deletion, thank you, unanimously. And minute of the regular council meeting of November 18.
Second.
Councillor Delaney and Councillor Flaspohler. Any addition, deletion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried unanimously. There's no delegation today. And we got item I, general government computer checks, please.
The recommendation that the accounts payable, computer check, and EFT listings dated November 26, 2025 be received for information.
Moved and seconded, Councillor Delaney, Councillor Beam. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Oppose, if any? Carried unanimously. Committee official plan bylaw number 2429.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the Manager of Economic Development and Planner dated October 15th, 2025, Council give first and second readings to the City of Williams Lake Official Community Plan Bylaw number 2429 and the City of Williams Lake Zoning Bylaw number 2430, and give consideration to the city's financial plan and wastewater management plan when considering the new OCP bylaw, and further, that staff be directed to issue notice of the proposed bylaws and a public hearing be scheduled at for the December 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers of City Hall.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Councillor Delaney and Councillor Nelson. Before we go to the councillors, I'm going to ask the staff to update. Mr. Muraka, your staff, please.
Your Worship, I'll pass this off to Beth.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth. Before I let you speak, Beth, I wanted to convey my much appreciated from my office on behalf of the council, the work you and your staff and you people all have done it. It's much noted not only by the residents of the community, but also the neighboring community. I have received nothing but kudos. Thank you very much for all the hard work you guys did. Floor to yours, please.
So I think 2025 might have been the fastest year in the history of the world. That's what I think. I started this year with different color hair, and here I am now. So that's what kind of year it has been at the City of Williams Lake, and we've got 4 more weeks to go, and we're nearly there. And so we started off this year coming to council with an ambitious plan, asking you to award the contract to the consultant team that we worked with for the OCP. And we let you know that we were on a very tight timeline in order to get this done. It was compressed, but we went all in. And so I just want to convey my deep appreciation to several departments within the city. Everybody had a hand in this. It's truly a full scope, every single department of the city. Corporate services, Rena and Ross had many legal questions that they had to consider and take forward. We had really good engagement with the Williams Lake Fire Department because you've seen some changes in there around how the good news about how we're going to make sure that our community is protected from wildfires. And then, of course, our planning team, the dream team of Jessica Ball and Marie Whitehead, who have been shepherding this along. Jessica was the point person on this, and really what you see is the result of her efforts. And then Marie was right behind her, making sure that other community plans and initiatives like active transportation and climate and other initiatives were all sort of folded into it. So I hope the community is happy with the results. I'll say again, it's a start. It's not the finish. It's the beginning of the next 25 years in our community. We will be legislated to do this again in 5 years. And at that time, what we hope is that we have a much simpler document to try and wrangle. The other thing that we did this year that was not legislated is we did a complete update to the zoning bylaw for our community that hadn't been touched in many years. It's a much simpler document, and we highlighted that in the report. And so with that little bit of a preamble, I will call Jessica up to be on deck to answer questions because she's far more technical than I am. And we'll keep Marie in the background with any other answers that we might need. And you can fire away.
Thank you. Councillor Nelson, please.
Well, thank you very much to the staff and the community for participating and bringing them forward. I'm just going to highlight a couple of key changes, which I think are important in terms of what we're doing here, Your Worship. So under the OCP, under the new land designations, there's new map guidelines. There's an increase in the density across the entire municipality. We now have increased the building height up to 8 stories. We plan for the appropriate transition of residential areas with commercial uses, recreational and industrial across the community. They've improved the chapters, the objectives, and the policies based on the consultation. They've added temporary use permit allowances and conditions, Your Worship. And they've updated the Chapter 7, which includes the culture and the historical and archaeological objectives that we've talked about in terms of being able to be transparent. The key zoning changes for the bylaw that I think are absolutely fantastic is they actually reduced the number of pages by 50%. So they cut a significant amount of red tape out, threw them out, said these didn't make sense, or we want to be able to fast track this. So 50% of the pages have been eliminated and reworded. They've improved the definition list, and they've eliminated a lot of the outdated terminology and the language and refined it. They've added graphics to make it easier to understand. They've updated the residential zones to allow a higher density as per the government regulations. That we've reduced 28 comprehensive development zones by increasing the variety of uses within each standard zone, which is very important. Manufactured homes will be allowed in residential zones to increase affordable housing across the municipality. That's included inside this. They've improved the accessible regular parking requirements, and they've added the bicycle parking regulations. So when you take all of these combinations, there's 16 or 18 key recommendations. It should help stimulate the growth, help to streamline it, reduce the red tape. So it's very good work. Thank you very much, you guys. I think it now goes after, if it passes tonight, it goes to the public for public input. But great job to you and your guys' team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Nelson. Council Flaspohler, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've just got to say that, to all of you guys, it is extremely apparent how much hard work you guys have done as staff. So it's so impressive. It is so impressive. We can't own this. You guys worked really, really, really hard on this document, and I want to commend staff and the consultants that did all of the work here. I also want to really commend the collaboration with WLFN and all the work that was done for this OCP. I think it's pretty incredible when you open our OCP and you're not only seeing stuff that has been there on previous OCPs, but we've got all of that additional history in there for anyone that is new to this community to understand what has truly happened in these lands. And I think that's part of the work that we all need to do as municipalities. And so I commend staff and all the work that you guys have done to make sure that that's part of this OCP. I think it's very impressive. I am thrilled with all of the work that you guys have done. A lot of it coming from, the province saying that we had to make those changes, but probably because some of the stuff also needed to be done to streamline processes, as my colleague has mentioned, which is really great because we want to see that there is good, positive development for our community and with that good collaboration with everyone. So thanks to all of you guys for everything that you've done. Thanks.
Thank you. I got Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you. Same echo the sentiments around the table. This is an excellent plan. Lots of work went into it. I did miss the committee of the whole meeting last week because I was away. And I do see that there's some recommendations further on down here for bike stuff from the CCC, the Cariboo Climate Group. Circle. Thank you. I'm like, it's a CCC, not a G. Anyways, I just was curious if, because I did like the opening statement, there was a couple additions on the vision statement. I'm just wondering if that, like, if you guys had talked about that and I just missed the conversation.
Yep, so we included it, it's just a little bit farther down in the report, but we did revise a portion of the vision statement to include climate resilience. Sorry, let me make sure I have it here. So amended it to include climate resilience for the future. And then they asked to include clean, low carbon future. We didn't add that to the end of the vision statement because staff felt that the final ending of that statement said environmental stewardship, which encapsulates a low carbon future. But we also did note from that meeting and recommendation, and we bumped up the implementation matrix of priority 3 to priority 2 for the reduction of GHG emissions and community well-being. So we moved up the climate plan from 3 to 2 for priority for next year because there are a lot of good initiatives and strategies that the group was suggesting.
Thank you so much, and apologies I wasn't at that meeting. So thank you so much for bringing. I probably could have asked another council member, but I didn't. So thank you.
Anyway, anybody else? Council Moses or Council Bain or Council Line, any comment? Once again, thank you very much. Job well done. I don't know how this task could have been achieved without the cooperation you people. And Beth, once again, really appreciate it from my office on behalf of the council, bringing everybody together, not only the city and my colleagues said the First Nation, but the regional district and everybody, bringing everybody together. That is the unwritten mission for this council, working together collaboratively. And that's another proof of working together. Thank you very much. And for the community purpose, even though it has been read, on 16th December, which is 2 weeks from today, is the public hearing. If you had any concern, question, praise, whatever, please come forward and you'll see the advertisement in the paper. So come out. Ms. Beankamp, if anything to add?
Yeah. The OCP is also it's a evidence of the investments that council have been making. And so I was listing off really quickly people that have had a hand in this, and it is a very good looking document. And we have a communications department, which is Greg. And you know, it's good looking because over the years, we've really been trying to amp up our picture inventory, and we've done different sort of marketing initiatives. And so all of that stuff sort of all comes together. And then of course, Kim, Manager of Administrative Services, she had the horrible task of sitting there reading the whole thing and like finding commas, and she's a master at that. So lots of people to thank, but I just, you know, in the zoning bylaw to have graphics that explain for people what that text mean. That's sort of Greg and Jessica working together so that we have a document that's truly usable and readable. And it's for the citizens of Williams Lake, not for technical staff that are within City Hall, right? And so we hope we've achieved that, and we look forward to the final adoption on the 16th. Thank you.
Thank you. No more question. All in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. Thank you. Annual council meeting schedule.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025, and section 6 sub 2A of the council procedure bylaw, council established the dates for regular council meetings for the calendar year as indicated in the report.
Second.
Moved and seconded to Councillor Delaney, Councillor Nelson. These dates are all set for the whole year, and which shows that 3rd November, as this council is on the last year of the term, would be inauguration. Whoever's new council member, mayor and council, they'll sworn in on 3rd of November, and the meeting schedule are all set. Any question, concern? Hearing none, all in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. And designation councillors as acting here.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025, and section 11 sub 2 of the council procedure bylaw number 2343, council designate councillors as acting mayor for 2025-26 pursuant to the information in the report.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Councillor Delaney and Councillor Nelson. Again, it's the process that we had a 6 council member having a 12-month and a year. Alphabetically, staff pick the council member starting from December, and it goes to the year end. And we had every month is designated, allowed, and appointed council member till October, but November would be whoever is the alphabetically from next council would be that council member. Any comment, concern, question? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Council appointment for 2026.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025, recommendations of the Mayor Surinder Paul Rather for council appointments to committees, ad hoc select committees, and community committees for the 2025-26 term be endorsed, and that council give direction on appointments for liaisons to the Social Planning Council's Communities Ending Poverty Leadership Table and the Canadian Mental Health Association Community Action Team, and further that the appointments to the standing committees be received for information.
Moved and seconded. Before we go further, thank you, I got you both. 2 positions are empty. One is Social Planning Council and one is Canadian Mental Health Association. I have spoken to Councillor Moses. He's willing to sit on, he volunteered, but my recommendation to him was I would get to the council, and if they want it, there's another correction in it, which will finish this, then I'll explain you that. Councillor Flaspohler, then Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Your Worship. If Councillor Moses is fine with it, I am quite comfortable to take the liaison position for the Canadian Mental Health Association Community Action Team. And that is only on the thoughts of I'd already somewhat, when I did the planting around Roots on First, I was already working somewhat with that community action team and networking with the staff on site for that to happen. I had already communicated with them about if they had gotten the concrete planters that were planned, about trying to do some Christmas decorations for the site. Unfortunately, they didn't get those ordered, so maybe next year, we'll be able to get those in for flowers and stuff. So that's up to Councillor Moses, if he's willing to let me, but I am also happy to.
He showed me 2 thumbs up. I'm sure he is in agreement. Councillor Nelson.
We had discussed, and I didn't see it, that we were going to change one of the committees to,
Yeah, well, I'm coming there. Let's finish this. I'm coming there.
okay,
I'm coming there.
Okay,
Please.
great, thank
Bear
you.
with me. So Councillor Moses, can we have your name for the Social Plan Council? Is that okay?
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you. So adding to item number 3, Councillor Moses, and item number 12, Flaspohler. And now, being said that what Councillor Nelson saying, that's what I said. There's another correction. I'll come back. By some reason, staff, it get messed anyway. We used to have a executive committee, and I had 2 members each year of the council to sit on it. And the last couple of years, we didn't do much on the executive. Mr. Mraka is capable of, and his directors, they look after everything if there's anything. And I'm in discussion, so everything has worked perfectly, and thanks to Mr. Mraka and his leadership. And what the council member, thanks to Councillor Nelson again, he proposed, why don't we change the executive committee to economic development committee, which I agreed and senior staff agreed, and the majority of council agreed, if I recall it. And on that committee, I'm requesting or nominating myself as a chair, and Councillor Nelson and Councillor Bain, because Councillor Bain was not, Councillor Bain is getting reappointed as she had her term last year. But Councillor Delaney was to go in there. I talked to her with her present schedule. It's a little bit tough for her. I don't want it to put burden on her unless she wanted to. And she agreed with me, so I have requested the Councillor Bain to replace her. So my recommendation on the Economic Development Committee would be myself as a chair, Councillor Bain and Councillor Nelson, and Councillor Delaney would be, she agreed to sit on alternate. That would be the changes. Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's really tough for me to take time off during working hours, but I'm happy to be backfilling, and I can do a Zoom link if it's something during the day. It's hard for me to travel down from the airport, but I did want to throw out there, I'm on the Partners for Literacy. I've done nothing for this. They meet on Tuesday evenings, I believe, so I'm not able to get there. I don't know if Sheila wants to attend those, or if we want to continue to just not have anybody there. I mean, nobody's ever contacted me and said, hey, you're a jerk because you haven't come to this. But I just want to let you know, I'm not going, I'm not able to. I'm more available in the evening, so if you need, spelling off for things like joint committee for yourself or for Councillor Nelson, those are the kind of things that I can take care of. Like Wednesdays and Thursday evenings are my 2 evenings that I have available for outside appointments, just as an FYI.
Sorry, which one was that? Could you repeat?
I said Wednesdays and Thursday.
No, which committee?
Partners for Literacy, Cariboo.
Oh, Partners for Literacy.
Yeah. And
Okay, any taker instead? Tuesday we can't do it, none of us could. No, Tuesday won't work for anybody. We can definitely send a message if they agree to hold their meeting any different day, and I'm sure,
provide minutes, like if there's
okay.
just. We have a lot of committees and councils attached to everything, and I'm not, it's a lot.
No, I appreciate it.
And I think sometimes we can just ask for minutes, or if there's like a recommendation that the table needs help with, and then get them to ask us, rather than sending a council member to every single thing.
I appreciate it. I'm sure staff has made the notes, and we will talk to them and see what is it. Councillor Nelson?
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I really think that the concept behind this is changing it from executive committee and directing the resources towards and time towards economic development is an extraordinarily important period right now in terms of what's taking place in the community with such dramatic change on the landscape inside of forestry and other areas. We know that we've flatlined in terms of development over the last several years. We've had development, but it's been government development. It hasn't been private investment development. So the idea behind this committee being struck is that there would be a bit of a center driven towards that to increase the development, work with the economic development office, and certainly try and increase that entire portfolio and ensure that we can continue to grow the community. Thank you.
Thank you. I totally agree with you. The landscape changing, things are happening every day. It's very important, but we take action. And after talking to our economic development manager, she wholeheartedly agree. In fact, she even talking to me for a bit, we should have a committee. It's too much work for her alone, and she's kind of by herself in her department. And thanks, Beth, and I apologize, it took a little bit longer than it should have been. And all in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. Cariboo Regional District appointment.
Recommendation that the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025 be received, and pursuant to Section 198 of the Local Government Act, Mayor Surinder Paul Rather be appointed to the Cariboo Regional District of the city's director for 2025-26, and pursuant to Section 200 of the Local Government Act, Councillor Scott Nelson be appointed as the city's alternate director.
Moved and seconded. Any question, concern? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried unanimously. As Scott Nelson left his chair for a minute or two using the, I think, boys' room, I apologize from Director Forsyth. I usually announce and recognize any elected person in the chamber. I don't know how I missed that. My apologies, sir. Director Forsyth, he's always passionate and very helpful on the other side of the table, sitting with us. He's present in the chamber. Thank you, sir.
Your worship, does he want to sub in for Councillor Nelson?
I don't think so. Councillor Nelson won't be happy neither. Director Forsyth. Okay, NDIT appointment, please.
The recommendation that the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025 be received, and that Councillor Sheila Bain be appointed to the Northern Development Initiative Trust Regional Advisory Board as the city's director for 2025-26, and that Councillor Michael Moses be appointed as the city's alternate director.
Moved in second, Councillor Delaney, Councillor Flaspohler, and thank you very much, filling in, folks. I really appreciate it, both of you. Any question, concern, comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. MIABC appointment.
Recommendation that the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025 be received, and that Councillor Scott Nelson be appointed as the City of Williams Lake delegate to the Municipal Insurance Association of BC for 2026, and then Councillor Joan Flaspohler and Councillor Sheila Bain be appointed as first and second alternates respectively.
Moved in second, Councillor Delaney, Councillor Flaspohler, and once again, thank you to you all. Just one note that there's not much changes in the appointment. What was last year, it's the same as this year, other than the Economic Development Committee. All in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. Wrestling Day, please.
The recommendation that the report of the corporate officer dated November 17th, 2025 be received, and that council proclaim January 2nd, 2026 as Wrestling Day in the City of Williams Lake pursuant to policy number 115.
Second.
Moved and seconded. There's history behind it. I was going to read it. I proposed to the staff. They said, we'll wait it. We'll put it in the paper, so I'm not going to waste council time or community time. I'll let it go. And we all know that it's only community, my understanding, in Canada who designate this day and had a paid holiday for the city staff. All in favor? Oppose, if any? Carried unanimously. NDIT renewal agreement.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the Director of Municipal Services dated November 18th, 2025, Council approved the 3-year renewal agreement with the Cariboo Regional District for handy dart service for specified areas within the regional district, and further that the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is the involving the regional district, our neighboring communities with the 150-mile house, Waldwood, Montview, Elsler, South Lakeside, and the city. It's once again, I'm always singing Kumbaya song, working together collaboratively. This is another sign of this council, this community, this city hall, working together with our neighbors. Like I said earlier, it's, I had made some notes here, $4 a ride, one-way ride, and it's $1,100 per year for the service between Creed. It's pretty well status quo. Councillor Moses, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, this is a pretty integral service for our community. When we attended the Communities Ending Poverty function the other week, this exact program was listed pretty frequently for being able to help people get around our community in a way that was timely and affordable. But it was also listed as something that we could potentially try to improve in the coming years. So as I'm excited to renew this agreement, I think that we should be looking at it in the future in ways that we can also improve it for our community. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councilor Moses. Yes, we both attended the meeting of the day, ending the poverty, along with other community leaders. And I echo what my colleague have said. Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And public, not public, Airport Cape Operation Award, please.
The recommendation that pursuant to the report of the Procurement and Asset Management Coordinator dated November 25th, 2025, Council approved the award of the Airport Café lease agreement contract to On the Fly Coffee and Tea at the Williams Lake Regional Airport for a term of 1 year, and that staff be authorized to award an optional 3-year extension upon mutual agreement after successful 1-year operations.
Second.
Thank you. Before staff have any comment, I would request Ms. Beankamp. She's the key person. A lot of years, at least since I've been on the chair, people been complaining, asking, there's nothing at the airport when we come or go if you want to have a quick cup of coffee. Our economic development manager has worked her butts off to get this thing done. Yes, council help her to push the grant. And kudos to Ms. Beankamp. Thank you. Could you please explain whatever you had?
So this is the culmination of about 1.5 years of work. Angie had a question, but we've got an operator and we're ready to roll. And if you've been there, it's beautiful. We have a couple little things to do, and then it's like we're going to be done this Friday. It's going to be done. Well, okay, I have a cleaner coming next week, but then it'll be done. So
Excellent.
yeah, it's a great addition to our airport.
And could you explain a little bit about the schedule and all that?
Sure. So part of the criteria for the selection of the operator was an understanding of the airport operations and an appreciation of what we're looking for is not only a cafe operator, but a proponent that understood the hospitality piece of it. Like if the plane is late, the cafe is open, things like that, right? And so the selected proponent was a person that that understood the assignment, basically, right? That it is a slow roll. We at times at the airport, but we are counting on the staff that number greatly over at the fire center to be over there and getting their coffees and whatever other bits and bobs that they want to pick up. Maybe doing some catering out of there for the fire center, and then of course being available and understanding when it's fire season that we need somebody there, and it's an important thing. I think in our application, what I'm excited about is that given that there's nothing really up there, it's a 24-kilometer round trip from Williams Lake to Tim Hortons back to the airport, and people do that. And so from the greenhouse gas emissions standpoint, I think there's a really good news story there as well that will be able to provide the people that are up at that site something on site. And I think we're going to have a good selection, and I'm excited to get them in there and get it operational.
I usually don't take that much time, as most of you know. I allow the council member to ask a question, but today I don't know why. I'm excited. My questions are all answered, but one more question I'm going to ask. What they're going to provide? Coffee only? Tea? Are any donor, anything? What is the service they're going to provide?
So it's a very small space and it doesn't have a lot of on-site prep or cooking space. So you're not going to get hamburgers and French fries out of there. And the proponent, again, they demonstrated sort of a flexibility and an understanding that they need to make the space work. And I guess we'll see. Is the answer to that. I think we're going to be able to eat and drink out of the airport now. I know that much. And so we have given a year sort of to make sure it works for everybody before we kind of lock them in for another 3-year term. But I look forward to speaking to the proponent tomorrow and getting going. Can't do anything until you approve it, so.
I have to use the airport pretty quick. I was hoping the coffee shop would be open by then, but it doesn't look like it. Any date proposed? Any guess? Any idea?
Again, I'm waiting for you to approve it before I get too far ahead of myself.
Thank you.
But I'm hoping that we can scramble sort of minimal service to get the people who will be coming through busiest travel time of the year, which is Christmas, which actually isn't the busiest time at Williams Lake Airport. But we certainly will have a lot of passengers there then, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to sort of scramble a start in order to make sure that the people traveling through Christmas time have some facilities there.
I think Councillor Delaney, she's waiting very patiently to speak. She would be the biggest user because she worked there
I can't wait.
5 days a week. Good luck. Councillor Delaney, please.
Shop with the mayor's credit card. Yeah, I'm gonna pay my coffee.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Ms. Meenkamp. This is definitely a testament to your drive to wanting to get better things for Williams Lake, and I want to applaud you and the staff that put the time and energy into this. I am absolutely excited because I do work up there, and I hate that when I didn't bring enough lunch, I have to drive all the way downtown and it eats up almost my entire lunch break. So I am absolutely happy to help you as well. I do have access to an all-staff email, and I know the people in the building. So anything that I can do to get the word out, provide, the opening hours, et cetera, please feel free to hit me up, and I will make sure the message is shared.
We're really counting on that fire center to.
Well, there's a lot of people up there.
To be there, yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't understand how many people are at the fire center. Hundreds daily. And there's no food service within 24 kilometers, right? So it's a great little opportunity, and a big thanks to the province of BC. They funded this through the Rural Economic Development Diversification Program.
Well done, Beth. Good. To Councillor Flaspohler, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I just want to say that I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for the community. What it may be odd, but what pops into my head is my father, who's now passed away. I have a memorial bench up at the airport because he used to ride his bicycle up to the airport on a regular basis, watch the planes. He probably would have loved the cafe. So what I'm saying is, to the community, spread the love. Make sure that you let people know that it's there. If there's other seniors in the community who want to go for a nice afternoon drive and just go up and maybe see what time that it's open, and if they can be there at the right times, have a coffee, take in the environment, because it is a really nice spot up there to be able to even watch the flights coming and going. So I just think that we need to spread that information throughout the community so that it could be enjoyed, because it is part of our city.
Yes,
So thanks, Beth.
absolutely. I actually got to engage with the Prince George Airport a little bit when we were rolling this out, and they mentioned to me that they've got the cafe at the Prince George Airport, and people go for a walk. And so, I mean, there's people in Wildwood that we know ride all-terrain vehicles and different things. Another thing I'll note is that it's in the contract. It says we get flights 7 days a week in Williams Lake, and so it's a 7-day-a-week cafe.
Excellent. Councillor Nelson, then Councillor Lyon.
Thank you very much, Beth. Great job. This is a very unique opportunity that we've got in our community. We'll need a full selection, but I think if you're sitting up there and there's a delay or something, you can have an extra glass of wine if you're not driving on the other end.
Nervous flyers.
So I just think those are the things that we need to do. I do think this adds value to what we're trying to do, and that's to continue to enhance a profitable airport that we've got inside the box. So thank you very much. It's the grant that we got from this and the work that you did really has paid off. So thank you very much, and best of luck to Fly on the Coffee Company.
Council line, please.
Thank you. As someone that was once stuck for 10 hours overnight in the Kamloops airport, I'm really happy to hear they're going to be flexible when it comes to missed flights.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Cariboo hospitality, right? It's at the airport.
I hope they don't start serving wine or beer 10 o'clock in the morning. That's all.
We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah.
that goes.
Anyway, all in favor of the award, please. Oppose if any, carried unanimously. Thank you, Councilmember. So many positive reports today. I really appreciate the staff. Working outdoor winter skating rink, please.
The committee recommendation that pursuant to the Committee of the Whole Council Report number 32, 2025, and the report of the Director of Municipal Services dated November 19th, 2025, regarding an outdoor winter skating area on Williams Lake be received for information, that this decision be ratified at the next council meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Councillor Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, staff, for putting this report together. I always support outdoor activity, and in this report, we've got a couple options to spend more money. I think I'll wait until see what the table has to say, but my sort of feeling of where I need to be is to stick with what we had talked about at the beginning of the year, is not adding any new services. So if we were to add this, that's another $15,000 to $20,000 to our budget. That would be getting a contractor to work with the ice if we have good ice situation, or we have an opportunity as well to look at putting in an ice arena somewhere in town, which would still be at the tune of $15,000 to $20,000. And I always want to say yes to the shiny, fun, sparkly things, but when I check myself, the reason that I'm supposed to be here is to look and to govern at the services that we do need to deliver, and that's water, roads, utilities, garbage. So I'm always going to be open to what the table has to say, but at this point, my vote would be to remain status quo and not spend more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Flaspohler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so I think this is coming from some of my recommendations previously, because when we had established some of the skating areas, and actually Councillor Nelson donated a bunch of his own time with his own equipment and did a bunch of work, it was incredible to see the people, the use down in that area, and to enjoy those aspects of Williams Lake. I understand the sentiments of my colleague in regards to trying to keep focused on just key services, but one of the things that we also have to keep in mind is that we need to make this community appealing to the professionals that want to come here, and little things like this sometimes can make a world of difference. So when you're talking, $15,000, $20,000 a year, for instance, I sat in the community grants process last night, where we put a lot of funds towards nonprofit groups in this community to do work. I think it came to a total of, we try to keep a budget of $45,000, but those little things sometimes can make a difference in a community. So myself, I would still support this. I don't see it as a massive amount of funds. I would support both either option 2 or option 1. Option 2 being the first choice, if we could find another group similar to what happens in the Windermere Whiteway that's interested in supporting this for the community. We look at making that happen, and if not, then we would take on option 1, which is where we would take it on more as the city is the lead, and then having a contractor fill in to do the work. Personally, I think it's a good investment, because in the winter you're limited to activities, and I know people like to still stay outside and be active. When I researched this stuff a few years ago, I talked with Prince George, and they had a skating oval. And I talked to one of the individuals that managed that, and they said without the in-ground cooling system nowadays, it's almost impossible to keep it operable. And that is a huge investment. So we may consider making a park skating rink, but with the warming capacities that are coming in the winter, I think that's actually going to be more challenging than just that time that we can try and optimize on when it's good weather for the lake, which ends up being, I think, not a huge window, but it's there if the weather is good for it. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Line, please.
Thank you. If funds weren't as tight as they are right now, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I did say in the committee of the whole that for this year, I am looking at status quo and keeping our levels the same, mainly because a lot of people do take their own time to go out and help clear the lake and make trails and everything. So it has been a nice, usable skating area for everyone. I was wondering, though, not for this year, but for next year, would it be possible to even look at if there's something like recreational grants for putting a temporary rink in like around Kiwanis or close to the rec center, if there's grants available for something like that?
Mr. Muraco, please.
Your worship, excuse me, your worship to Councillor Lyons, yes, we'll continue to look for grants and opportunities that come up with that in mind, with like something able to put in Kiwanis. So like further to what Councillor Flaspohler was saying, it's about the weather, right? We had it in Kiwanis, I would say about 4 years ago, and that was a lot of staff time and a lot of work. And I mean, it did work for a while, but there's a lot of effort, but we can look at grants and see what's there.
It's always that counterbalance of insurance issues with the lake versus weather issues with not having a fault
There's
right.
always going to be those kind of insurance questions and risks where you get like an outdoor rink where if you don't have boards and stuff like that, and then you're going to have rules that are monitored where you can't bring sticks on the ice.
Yeah.
You can't have a puck. Do you mean there's lots of things that you have to look into for those sort of things, but it's not impossible. Other places do it. So it's just a matter of how you're going to do it, what kind of insurance rider you're going to hold, and how you're going to do it further. People like it. There's no doubt people like it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nelson.
Here's the good news. It's December the 2nd. We've saved money inside of our snow clearing budget at this point in time for 2025. So we do have a little extra cash available to be able to do a 50 by 100 rink. The reason I think the committee, the whole look at this overall is that we recognize that this is weather dependent. And if it's weather dependent, some years you can have a skating rink, some years you can't. I think the community enjoys creating the trails and the networks and have fun doing it. I support the 50 by 100 rink that the city went down and cleared out. After that, the community took charge and had a blast kind of cleaning it up thereafter. So I think if we stay to that plan and make sure that we've got a little bit of money inside the budget, I think that we've got a little bit of opportunity in front of us. I think that'll work out perfectly. I don't want to go create a massive program that's just going to create more red tape. So I think what's in front of us is a very, very clear opportunity that if the weather clears up and it gets really cold and the ice is thick, we're going to have a nice rink down there. The city will go down and clean it up a couple times, and then the community can create their own trails and have some fun doing it like they've done in the past couple of years. But it's all weather dependent. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Mr. Muraco.
Your worship, just to further to Councillor Nelson's points, it's weather dependent. It is staff resources dependent too, because without putting or committing to the service, if we're plowing snow, that takes the priority at this time over any type of plowing or anything.
100%.
Then just to make sure everybody understands.
No,
that's
I totally
what we've done in the
agree.
past.
Totally agree. The whole council agreed, committee of the whole agreed with you, because we're not going to get work on the rink before the roads come in. I got Councillor Bain, please.
Thank you, Worship. And I think my fellow councillors consider, I also have no interest in adding any cost to this year's budget for this thing, although it would be a nice thing. It worked really well what happened when staff were able to in the past. And I think it was very much appreciated by the community. And I definitely am okay with that. And we can revisit it later, but I'm not interested in increasing any of the costs for that.
Thank you. Councillor Moses.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think our CAO answered most of my questions, but just one really easy one that I think I know the answer to. If we do go with option 4, which is the status quo, we do still get a small rink on the lake with ability for the community to create the trails off of it, just like the last few years.
Your worship, Councillor Moses, as time, budget, and permits. Like, you mean, in years past, when you get those -20s and -30s, they don't usually bring snow. So our staff are doing odd jobs. There's things around anyways, so they can go down there and they can plow the rink off and you don't have any snow. But to maintain it to a level where you're like putting a Zamboni on it or plowing it if the snow does come, that's a different story. It's just, it would be an odd job. Do you know what I mean? And that's how we've done it since I've been here anyways. It's like, we have time, go there, make a rink, and a lot of times we'll send that out to a contractor to do it, and we'll just make sure it's done. So the idea behind that would be, yes, that's, the community loves it, we'd love to do it, but as time, staff, and budgets are permit.
Okay, and then one more comment is just that if we were to go with one of the more costly options to create something new, I feel like we should plan it for a year in advance so that we can approach our recreation partners at the Cariboo Regional District and potentially Williams Lake First Nation and whoever else would like to be involved with the project, so that we don't just take it all on our shoulders. That I think that we can do this in a way that'll be a lot more productive and conducive, time-saving, cost-saving for our whole community. We just need to plan it a little further ahead than the day after we get our first snow. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. I got a list going on for a second time. Just quick, a couple notes from myself. Everybody knows how conservative I am financially, how tight I am financially. I like to spend money where I cannot get away, but I would hate to spend money if I can get away without spending money. Saying that, in my religious ideology, is having a share by everybody, having everybody's input. I like it what happened last winter. The whole community came on board. There was very minimum cost to the city. I supported that. That is the reason I'm supporting the status quo. But if we need to plan long-term, and thanks to the regional district friends and partners, they are on board. They can look into, and it will fit in the regional recreation plan if council choose to. But time will tell. It's up to the council how they want to budget, how they want it to work tomorrow. I would not tie hands for next year's council. Next council would be elected on 17th October, like I said earlier. So it's a good thought by Councillor Moses put forward. We should plan ahead. Yes, we should plan ahead. Totally, wholeheartedly agree with you, sir. But we will worry about this year yet, and then we will see how things go. And I'm sure staff had in their mind, in their plans to do it in the long run. And the economics is not allowing this council to do very many things, which is, there's an item next to the agenda, you'll hear them. And we are having a special council meeting tomorrow. And based on that, I wholeheartedly supported the status quo, because it all depends upon the weather and everything. I got to second time Councillor Flaspohler, then Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just some clarification. One, like if we have been doing those ranks on the status quo aspect, it's generally a contractor that does it, right? Am I not correct? That we end up paying, like it's always funds that go towards a contractor that goes and does the work. That's one question.
Please.
Yes, for the most part, but we do monitor the ice. We do all the free inspection, and don't let the contractor go on there without that, the safety stuff and stuff.
Okay, okay.
We hire them to take their equipment on there, but we still are down there at the same time, doing the daily checks and all that sort of stuff.
Do we know what the cost, what the cost is of that contractor doing the clearing for the ice?
Well, it depends on how many times they do it. I think, Ross, do we remember what it was per time? Because that was one of the things we looked into, because I wanted a per time cost, because it changes, right? So if we talk about the status quo, which we do, right, it's just a hit and miss thing. If you want to make it a service, it'd be more. So this price that is in the report is if we made it a service based on the amount of days we forecast that you would do it to maintain over the thing. I think it was, I want to say it was like a couple $1,000s a time, wasn't it? Like $2,000 to $3,000 at a time.
Okay.
But like we would do it like once or twice a year in the past, and that's the only time we touched it.
Right.
So,
okay. And I think that was kind of my point on this whole putting it out as a recommendation, to make it more of a regular expected service of the community. But if my colleagues are not interested in providing that for our municipality, then so be it. We can always go with the hit and miss. I was just going to add that extra piece.
there we go.
I was going to add that extra piece of when I went down to the Windermere Whiteway, I actually met with the nonprofit group that does all the work down there and does the Whiteway. And they actually stated the insurance costs, as soon as, if they cleared all of the paths, their insurance was manageable. As soon as they cleared an ice rink, their insurance substantially grew, because you're now incorporating that game aspect and the insurance was massive. So they actually found that it was a lot less cost by doing skating paths than by doing any ice rink, just for consideration for the table for insurance. So, okay, thank you.
You got to respond?
Your worship, Councillor Flaspohler, that's exactly what we found out too. Because as soon as you introduce pucks, sticks, stuff like that, it changes the game. But the thing is in Windermere, like you're saying, the ideal situation is for a group to come to the city and propose it, and then they look at other opportunities on how you can fund that, either for fee for service or stuff like that. That would be something that would be, but if you're gonna provide it as a city service, that's where it puts it out of the.
That was the last one.
Yeah, so basically, when the city cleaned the rink, the cost was between $800 to $1,000 a ton.
Okay.
But that doesn't take into account, like I said, the drilling the holes, the checking the ice thickness, because there's work that goes into that, right? Okay?
Thank you. Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I mean, status quo doesn't really lay out the things that we're talking about in here, so, I mean, I don't know if we need a resolution to say. I do agree with Councillor Nelson, and we probably will, we've seen some savings already in our snow budget. I do agree that it is something, I do like to see the community come together, but I wonder if there's a way that we can still offer status quo, so we're not introducing a new service. We're still gonna, you know, if it gets really cold, the conditions are right, we're gonna go out there, but maybe we could cap it to say, you know, if we've spent like $3,000 in the past, that we stay within that's kind of the agreement. Because I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna whatever, and then next thing you know, we've spent, you know, $15,000, we could have just introduced a service. So if we're spending in the years past, if we're already spending, you know, $2,000 to $5,000 to have that rink done one time, and then the community understands that when we get out there and you get a real cold weather, we come out, we plow it, and then kind of like, now you take care of it. Then I think, you know, I'm happy to continue to do that with status quo, and I do agree with my colleague, Councillor Moses, that we should be planning a year ahead. Like, if we're going to introduce this stuff, we probably want to be looking at it a year ahead, and that'll be up to the next council who's sitting to decide on that. So I'm still in support of status quo. We can still have what we had in the past, but we're not asking staff to do anything extra, and it's when they can get to it and when the conditions are right, and we're not going to spend more than like $3,000 to $5,000.
I can assure you it won't happen 15,000
Yeah,
under
okay.
my command unless it's properly done. Mr. Maraca, please.
Yeah, your worship, to Councillor Delaney, absolutely. That would happen without saying, but if council wants to say that we go when conditions and budget are available, and we plow and basically look at the opportunity to form a surface, and then say, here you go, hand it all off. You could say that if you want to make that a resolution. We're going to do it anyways, but like,
If you're already doing it, I don't need to make a resolution for the sake of making a resolution. If that's already baked in, that's what's been happening, carry on. Status quo is my vote.
yeah, just for that, we've been doing it to date. We continue to do that as time, because the community loved it, so we're not going to do it.
Thank you. No more further debate. Status quo will continue the way we are doing. Plus and minus 1,000, little over 1,000, doesn't matter. It's in the power of the mayor's office as well as in the CEO's office. Will continue, but trust me, it won't be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. All in favor of the status quo? Oppose, if any? Councillor Flaspohler be noted. Cariboo Climate Circle, please.
Committee recommendation that pursuant to the Committee of the Whole Council Report number 33, 2025, the proposed list of climate projects from the Cariboo Climate Circle be referred to staff for follow-up with the group, and further that staff be directed to work with the Cariboo Climate Circle to bring back information and costs for installing bike block stations in the community.
Moved and seconded, Mr. Maraca for update.
Thanks, your worship. So this tight time frame, we talked about this at the last Committee of the Whole meeting. We received some information from the group, I want to say the night before last, that showed some locations for some bike racks. Staff haven't had the opportunity to price that, but they have had the opportunity, they have provided those locations, and Marie will be in touch with them, and they'll just find out what the costs are, and we'll bring it back to the next meeting. But right now, we have locations and numbers, but we still have to price it out.
Excellent, good job. Councillor Bain, please.
Thank you, Worship, and thanks through to staff. And I just want to ask, like, if we could ask the bike or have some opinion on how they're placed, like which side that the bikes, like some of them now aren't, like whether you're putting them this way, like I'm not sure there's the understanding of how bikes go on the racks. Like some of them are so simple, but whether it should be this way or that way. Like if you could ask people that are riding the bikes, like, does that make sense? Like the people that we know regularly will be using them. Yeah, it was pointed out to me that the one outside the Arts Center, for instance, has now got benches on either side and it's almost unusable. So, right, maybe one bike. And so to maximize those, especially because they're not super big these days. So, they're not the ones we grew up with the line. So just to maximize that, if we could ask our biker friends to.
Mr. Raka.
Your worship to Councillor Bain, absolutely. The group is very thorough. They gave pictures in there, their maps and everything on how they would like. And the great thing about this is actually the group that is part of the climate group is actually some of the members are actually part of the active transportation. So we'll make sure that we follow up with those questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Councillor Moses.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, this is a really exciting prospect to me. We're so lucky to have this sort of expertise in our community that's willing to help us and to create a working group with us. Their membership appears to be from all of the climate action friendly groups in our whole region, including even the instructor for climate action at our university. So it's good that we're moving forward with this in a really quick fashion, that we can get this ball rolling with them, including what we just saw earlier, that we're already getting some changes into the OCP in multiple different sections of it. That's our official community plan. I'm excited for this. Them willing to utilize their time to help us is so great for us. So thank you to that group.
Yeah, I can't let it go without recognizing the volunteer in our community, regardless what state, what group. This community is blessed to have all those kind of volunteers. You talk about any subject, there's a volunteer in this community. I'm so lucky. This community is so lucky to have those people. And thanks to all the volunteers in our community. Okay, moving along, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried unanimously. And budget financial plan, please.
Committee recommendation that pursuant to the Committee of the Whole Council Report number 34, 2025, and the report of the Chief Financial Officer dated November 18th, 2025, Council target a 0% budget increase in principal and that a special meeting be held as soon as possible to review capital projects in greater depth.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, Councillor Nelson, Councillor Delaney. Any discussion, Councillor Flaspohler?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I have questions, of course, because I was not here and during the Committee of the Whole Council when this was obviously discussed. 0%, I'm glad it says in principle, because 0% is magic math. It's not possible. You can't acquire 0%. That is just not how everything functions nowadays. So when this is made a statement, I was reading the report attached. Is this a 0% above the 5% anticipated increase? Or what exactly is this meaning? So we're actually looking at a prospective 5% taxation increase. And when this statement is being made, it's saying, let's keep it so it's at 5 and not with an additional 7% to get to the 12. I just want some clarification, if possible, on what this statement means.
I can answer, but I won't let the staff expert people do that, Mr. Mraka.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can answer too, but yeah, Vitaly's the guy who knows everything about this. Vitaly, you want to answer this question?
It's all will depend how much council want to spend on the capital program. If at the moment, I think at the last meeting we announced that the valuation increased not 5%, we projected by 3.3. So that would be like a valuation increase at 0% rate change in the community. If we want 0%, then we will have to make a 3.3% reduction in taxes. If we want to implement capital program, we need to aim at the 12% tax increase. And it's all depend on council, what exactly council want to do and which option council will choose.
Okay,
Please, Mr. Miracle.
So basically 0% above the 3.3% assessed value. So if your house is assessed.
so it's not 5, it's 3.3
Yeah,
now?
yeah, it's 3.
Okay.
It came back right before the meeting. We got notice from BC Assessment. There was about 3.3, 3.5. Vitaly had forecasted 5 based on past and stuff like that, which is a very good number. But we got notice that it was like 3.3 or 3.5 Vitaly.
3.3.
3.3. So basically the numbers would be depending on the valuation of your house. Some would pay more, but your house, if it was evaluated more, like if it was a 4% increase, you're going to pay 4%. You're going to pay more taxes regardless of your 0%. It's 0% on top of your assessed value, just like we've done every year.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, yes, we need to stop talking about mill rates because a lot of the community doesn't understand that. So we're looking at a potential 3.3% increase and then potentially more if we approve all of the capital. And that's what we're going to be looking at on Wednesday at noon as to how many of those projects we want to support or not. To the community, like I just want to state, like as we function as a community, it is so important when we have all of these groups like indoor soccer facility, pickleball, we want a waterfront development, all of these different things. The skating oval thing that I had put on a recommendation. All of these nice things that we would like to have in a community, all of these livability pieces, we can only have them if we maintain being responsible and take care of the infrastructure that we have to do on a regular basis. So if we keep saying no, and always going 0% and trying to keep the taxes as low as measly possible, we'll never ever get the things that we want in this community. That is my perspective, but I feel that that is the way that we need to understand. It's important to try and keep our taxation as low as we can, but if we constantly keep cutting things, we defer them, we never get those nice things. So when those other communities have all those nice active transportation trails and all those things, and we're going, why doesn't our city have that? Well, maybe it's because every year we say no and we cut from the budget and we cut critical infrastructure. So staff's not going to be going, hey guys, let's build this great, nice livability piece because we have this massive water tower that's falling apart and should have been done 20 years ago. So it's just things that we have to consider moving forward. So Wednesday will be interesting. I believe it's at noon that we have a special council meeting that we have to go through the items. But that's the reality, and it's the stuff that I've definitely learned in being in this position in the 3 years that I've been in. Okay, thank you so much.
Thumb of rule, I think I can call you, Councillor Flaspohler, a perfectionist. I know when I was on the chair, I was like you. Tell us the truth. That's what I used to say. But thumb of rule, assessment is not controlled by the city council. Mayor and councillor, they can't even get close to the assessment office, believe it or not. What we do is, based on our budget, we set the mill rate, regardless. If your house assessment went up, you pay more. If it went down, you pay less. It depends. For example, I'm not saying what would happen tomorrow, it's up to the council. I'm part of the council. If council tomorrow came up with the 0%, that means you're going to pay 3.3% plus and minus approximately, as explained by the CFO. Somebody pay 3.3% if your assessment average. If you went to 5%, you pay 5% more. If your assessment went down, you will pay less. That's the thumb of rule. It's not based on the assessment. If council approved 0% tax increase tomorrow or taxation, that means you're going to carry on the same mill rate, but it will depend how much you pay based on your assessment. Being said that, there is a December 9th open house in the chamber here. I believe it's 3 to 6. There's a card on each council member's table. I have given enough for the last week or so. Please distribute, and I request each and every one of you, the residents, the taxpayer, it's not gonna be easy tomorrow. You think we had a hard meeting in the past, tomorrow gonna be very tough meeting. And the meeting would be again broadcasted. You can watch it, and the way you're watching tonight, come out, sit, listen, or watch. But you must come out, please, on November 9th, open house to the City Hall, and have your say before you start complaining or blaming or praising. That would be my 2 bits. I got Councillor Nelson, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I'll be supporting the recommendation that's in front of us to support it in principle and look to see if we can find some cost savings. Look, there's no doubt that there's some dark clouds and very black clouds over resource-based communities, including Williams Lake right now. We just had an announcement that Drax is closing. If they tear that plant out, that's a $400 and some odd thousand hit to our tax base over a 10-year period. That's $4 million. That's a 5% tax increase. When you look at this budget, and let's be very clear and be very honest, this budget is put together very cautiously based upon grants and recognizing quite clearly that we've had a flat line of growth in the private sector over the last 5 years. The growth that we have had has come from the hospital, has come from the First Nations, and has come from the public sector. We've had very little private sector investment in the community. That's why tonight we started to change a number of things. We started with the OCP review and changing and streamlining that to remove a number of red tape issues. Tonight we changed and focused on economic development. This budget, any increases that you put in above 0%, the majority of that is going to be picked up by the taxpayers, the residential taxpayers. That's why I'm cautious right now, because the affordability issue is tight. I thought it was tight last year. It's 10 times tighter this year. And even more tighter because as a resource-based community, we're being threatened by tariffs and high costs of fiber right now. So we need to diversify our economy. So while I'm all in agreement that I support the trail networks and all these good things, we've been able to do that inside the box over the last several years by applying and putting in place grants. This budget, 30% of this budget is entailed in grants. This council is committed to the #1 issue, and that's the water treatment plant. There are communities in the province, in the north right now, that are already on zone 4, which means that it's a critical area for them to be in. This is in December. So we know what's going to happen next year. There are communities south of us where their water bills have jumped to $1,000 a month. So for us as a community, I think we, 10 years ago, strategically got smart and said, let's pay our debt down. And Mayor Rather, I give you a lot of credit because we worked very hard to get our entire budget paid down. We will be a debt-free community very shortly. Very shortly. We're fine-tuning this budget. We've got in excess of $35 million in reserves, another $2.2 million in DCCs. So I think if we cautiously approach the next year or two and see what happens inside the forestry industry and work with the forestry industry, we'll get through this. So any big capital projects that we do, if it's not grant funded, I'm not going to be supporting them. If it's grant funded and we're getting 30 or 50 or 75 cents on the dollar, I think that's great. But I think we've done it right. There are a lot of communities out there right now that they've blown their loads because the budgets that they've got are 6 and 10%. I think we need to be very, very cautious, continue to grow the community, diversify the community, and get more growth coming into the community so it doesn't land on the residential taxpayer. So I'll be at the budget meeting tomorrow, Your Worship, looking at key capital projects that are tied to grants. Thank you.
I would request Mr. Maraca to clarify. We had the meeting last week because that means if we didn't correct it, the information going wrong to the community. Yes, last committee of the whole meeting, it says 35 whatever $1 million surplus. And Mr. CFO told me right away it's not. And he was working to check why it is not, what's the correct figure. I think the letter was sent to every council member, if I correctly remember. It may not have, but my understanding it's been done. Mr. Maraca, could you tell what is the exact surplus, putting all the accounts together and why, the figures?
Thanks, Your Worship. So last week, we brought the attention of council from the CFO, who caught it right away, that there was concerns about the $33 million in surplus or in reserves being in water, sewer. And there was concerns if it actually was there. It is not there. And basically he caught it right away. It's there, but it's previously allocated to other projects. So we have $21 million in reserves. Correct, Vitaly?
So the $12.1 million that you found where it was at?
We always knew, we had it in the bank, but it was allocated to other projects and stuff like that. And therefore we had to find out where it was committed. And we have now determined where it's committed, and we are at 21 million, correct, Vitaly? Yes. 23 million, sorry, my
23, sorry, where's the 12.1 committed to then?
You turn the microphone, Vitaly.
Turn it on, please.
Microphone, Vitaly.
Turn it on. Thank you.
We reported initially 33 when we had a concern that it was not accurate. We asked auditors to look. They looked where it's allocated, and there is different allocation. For example, there is a grant for the water treatment plant, which was included as our surplus, which is just sitting in the account and designated already to the water treatment plant. There is, for example, the retirement obligations, which we're saving the money to close the transfer station. So that's also sitting in our money. It's available money, but they already allocated to the retirement of the transfer station. There is a retirement of our building, which we built last year, also $2 million, which are sitting there as money available, but this allocated already in our books, according to auditors, to the retirements of the buildings which we built and which have hazardous material. So again, these are money which is sitting in the accounts, but they already, according to auditors, been allocated to some other commitments the city made.
Okay, I'm confused.
Your Worship, and I'll just add to that this is a one-year thing. We didn't report on us having this kind of surplus in the past. This was caught right away by the CFO, and we reported within 2 meetings where it is.
So will you be updating these numbers from the 33 to the 20?
I thought it's done today.
It's done. You received a memo today. All the council received a memo with the new numbers and everything in it.
So, but I guess publicly, we want to make sure that it's adjusted so that when we do the public presentation, that it's adjusted in those numbers.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, we'll
Awesome.
update the report, Vitaly,
Thank you.
for the meeting, yes.
So it's 20, sorry then, Vitaly, just for clarity, Your Worship, instead of 33, it's 23 plus the 2.2 in DCCs.
No, it's including DCCs.
Oh, that included
Including DCC. Including
Thank you.
DCC 23. Okay, I got Council Moore
Thank
on
you.
the council line. Thank you, Council Nelson.
Thank you, Your Worship. My goal in regards to our budget is not to aim for any specific number. My goal is for the city to provide and keep as many services to our community as possible for the least amount of extra costs. This is a balance that has become increasingly difficult as costs to maintain our current level of services continues to rise year after year. So I'm not aiming for a 0, but I'm not aiming for a 3.3, but at whatever keeps our community functional and safer. So in principle, I agree that we will do our best to keep that number as small as we can, but we don't only answer to the community for the amount of taxes that we're charging. We also answer the community for the quality and the amount of services that we're providing. And the longer we push back maintenance and replacements to make sure that we can provide these services, the more they cost us when they surprise us and break. So definitely, I agree with your worship. I encourage everyone to come to our public event about our budget on the 9th, because your feedback really matters in how we make these decisions. Thank you, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Moses. Councillor Line, please.
Thank you. And that was absolutely beautifully said and far more eloquently than I ever could have put it. I'm just going to say my usual, and like I'm never going to be in favor of 0%. Inflation is always there. Inflation is always a thing. We always have to look for the future as well as the present day, and not just this next fiscal year, but everyone after that. It's going to take one major disaster for our reserves to be gone, and so many communities are on the verge of that one major disaster. So as Councillor Moses just said, not aiming for any specific number, but my vote in favor of this previously at the Committee of the Whole was to have another budget meeting, not to be aiming for that 0%. Thank you.
You betcha. And I make no bones telling the community, yes, it's a target. Everybody would like to see the 0%, but we will find out tomorrow at noon when we start the meeting what's going to happen. Like I said earlier, I like to go negative numbers if I can, but can we keep up? I don't know. We'll see how the council member want it. There's no council member elected under anybody's umbrella. Everybody's elected independent. That is the beauty of our council. And everybody would speak up of their mind and what they wanted to do, what they wanted to see. Do we want to cut the services? Do we want to keep the status quo? Do we increase the services? So we'll finalize tomorrow. Like I said, you can watch online, and it is going to be tentative tomorrow. It's not going to be again a final number. A final number going to be when council adopts the budget and get into which would happen after 9th of December. So I cannot stress enough to the community, please come to Williams Lake City Hall on the 9th at 3 p.m. Based on that, any more comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Oppose if any, carried unanimously. Thank you. Roundtable discussion, sir.
The committee recommendation that pursuant to the Committee of the Whole report number 35, 2025, roundtable discussion be included on regular council agendas going forward.
So moved.
I need seconder. I'll second it for the sake of discussion. I got you, both. This was taken back off, I believe it was beginning of the year, Mr. Braga, sometime, to speed up the council. And there's a lot of things that comes through my office which council need to be updated. And thanks to council, they allowed me always to do that rather than sitting and writing, printing, typing the report. And I bring and I let everybody know. But discussion was to suspend a 6-month roundtable, which we did, 6 months and come and gone, just for council's process. 90 days before the election, roundtable is suspended, regardless, which would be, I believe, 17th of July. A roundtable will be suspended based on the procedures and policies. But the Committee of the Whole discussed, everybody spoke in favor, either for one or for nobody, either for all or for nobody. So that was the resolution came. I got Councillor Delaney, then Councillor Flaspohler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I obviously wasn't there. I would have voted not in favor of this. I find council roundtable takes a long time. We have 7 people sitting around the table. If we do 3 minutes each, that's 21 minutes extra. And generally those updates are not 3 minutes. So I'm happy to do roundtable again, but I like to put some parameters around it. And respectfully, Mr. Mayor, your roundtable takes the longest. And generally it's a regurgitation of your schedule. I would respectfully ask that if you want to submit a mayor's report with your schedule, that's great, but use roundtable for emergent issues or for community updates that are relative, because this roundtable goes on for a long time, and it's at the very end of our meeting, and it's what's between ourselves and getting home to get to bed on a decent time. So I'm happy to support roundtable if it's emergent issues, it's updates, and if we can keep it to 2 to 3 minutes each. That would be my suggestion. Otherwise, I'm going to be not in favor. Thanks.
Fair enough, Councillor Flaspohler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I just kind of want to speak why this came. One of them is, as my colleague has mentioned, roundtables tend to sometimes drag on. It turns into a story time, I think is sometimes the words that come out. And it gets where we're starting to stray from the business, and we need to make sure that we focus on the business. I think it's really important for us to utilize roundtable where we're actually mentioning, hey, there's an event. There's something that's really critical in the community. There's something that's very applicable that we want to share and we want the community to know about. But if it becomes into, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, it turns into too long. The other part I wanted to add, the discussion to remove roundtable actually came somewhat after we had a consultant here that was giving us good guidance on good governance. And one of the discussion pieces was how sometimes in roundtables, somebody will bring something to the table that's a hot topic for them, and all of a sudden a recommendation comes out and we're making votes. And that is so not okay. That is extremely bad governance. And it was one of the reasons I think myself and some of my colleagues said, no, no more. That is not what we're supposed to be doing at a roundtable. We're not supposed to be all of a sudden putting votes on the table because of some safety issue in town. If we're voting, we need to have backup information and reports that support it so that we're not just making votes on things that we have no information on. It's bad, bad process. So those are my thoughts on this. If it's cleaned up and my colleagues are trying to use roundtable for a really positive communication to the community, I'm okay with it. But if it gets where it starts being utilized for other processes, I don't support it as well. Thank you.
Mr. Baraka.
Thanks, Your Worship. So just a point of clarity that the discussion about roundtable happened at committee of the whole. It hasn't been ratified yet. So your discussion, because a lot of you were not here, can have a conversation now because it doesn't have a decision whether you reinstate. There's nothing to say you have to have roundtable. You can have the discussion right now.
We are having a discussion. It came the recommendation from the committee of the whole. Whatever, any thoughts from Councillor Lyon, Councillor Beam, or Councillor Moses? Yes, please, Councillor Moses.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I can see where my colleagues are coming from with their concerns about the roundtable possibly returning. I see the need for a time limit, and I most definitely see the need of no motions to be coming from our roundtable because it's intended to be a discussion period, not a policy writing period. So if we can make it so that at best you can do a notice of motion and no motions for that day, because we do need our colleagues to have time to be able to research these topics ourselves so that we can make educated decisions. If we just bomb each other with a motion within 30 seconds and needing to make a decision, that is, as Councillor Flaspohler pointed out, that is not good governance for us to just blindside each other with policy decisions. So if we can make it so that at most we can do a notice of motion during that period for the next meeting, that way also staff can be prepared for it. Because blindsiding each other, that's bad governance. Blindsiding our staff, that's unacceptable. So let's make sure that if we're going to do this, we do this in a way that is conducive for everyone. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Lyon.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in agreement with everything that's been said, and I was actually just writing out, can I put forward a motion for this? So can I put forward that roundtable be reinstated with a 2-minute cap for pertinent information and no motions made?
Moved and seconded, 2-minute limit. 2-minute limit and no motion, only notice of motion. Moved by Councillor Lyon, second by Councillor Delaney. Please.
So Your Worship, this is an amendment to the
Amendment.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Volunteer to be the timer.
I got the timer here. Don't worry. Yeah. Councillor Flaspohler, then Councillor Bain, and then Councillor Nelson.
Yeah, I'm in agreement as well, Your Worship. I would have stated all those same things. I would prefer to actually get out of here. I'm not even sure I need the roundtable, and I prefer the idea of updates. This shouldn't be a big discussion, actually. It should just be, here's what's happening, or, what's going on.
I think the board should be up to maximum 2 minutes. Am I correct? If somebody want 30 seconds, somebody didn't want it to use any time, pass it. So up to 2 minute maximum, please. Councillor Nelson.
Yeah, I support the concept, and I truly enjoy, I think, the flexibility of being able to bring motions forward. Obviously, I've got one tonight that deals specifically with forestry, so I think that as local elected officials, you want to be able to think on your feet, and if it's conducive to be ensuring that it's not going to create a red tape by waiting 2 weeks, that you can move forward on it. I don't think that there's earth-shattering motions that come forward that are so profound that you cannot make a decision on. So, if you're saying no motions at all, then I can't support it. I do agree 2 minutes is great, or a minute is fine, but you want to have some flexibility inside the box. Thank you, Your Worship.
Second time, Councillor Flaspohler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Maybe I can be corrected by staff on this, but I believe in the actual layout of an agenda, there is opportunities. For instance, we're doing a late item, which is putting an item on the table for discussion at last minute. But the difference between doing it at a round table or doing it in that process is the council gets to vote whether they want to have that discussion and accept that. Because it's coming late to them, we voted whether we accepted that late item on the table. We could say no, and then that individual would have to set it up so it goes on the agenda properly for the next meeting so that we as a council can be prepared for it. That's the difference. Coming out of a round table is not good. It does not give any prepare, and it gives the other people at the table no choice. So it's just better process that it comes in as a late or a notice of motion, as Councillor Moses had indicated. Thank you.
Councillor Moses.
Call the question. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Call the question on the amended motion, please.
You betcha. Question being called. Could you please repeat the motion?
So this is the amendment, so that the amendment is that no more than 2 minutes be provided for the roundtable, and that no motions be made during this portion of the agenda.
Notice of motion could be given. Notice of motion could be given.
So, yes, Your Worship. So under the
That
rules of
could come
procedure, notice of
separately?
motion, there's a
Become separate.
section there
Okay.
in the
Thank you.
in the agenda for notice of
You
motion.
got the blue book. I won't argue with you. Okay, all in favor of the motion as amended? Oppose, if any? Carried unanimously. Motion as amended and sitting in front of the council now. We have to take the vote second time. First was amendment, now is the motion as of the table. All in favor? Oppose, if any? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Please.
Sorry, Your Worship, just a quick procedural item. So because this is a resolution, again, when these things are in your bylaw, they are what they are. But as a resolution, and this is, council's been flexible in the past, you can waive your resolutions kind of thing. So if you do have something that's super emergent kind of thing, you can ask the table. Essentially, you're asking the table, hey, are you willing to consider this before you even discuss the item? We often do this by unanimous consent. So just so council's aware procedurally that's where we are.
Appreciate it. That's why we called you person with the books. Appreciate your input, sir. Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, Christine Bowles, letter.
Worship. So this is just for receipt.
So moved. Second.
Moved and second. We received this letter from the minister, and she praised we met her in Victoria during the UBCM, and she recognized, but we raised the question in front of her as a council, as a delegation to her. And then on the bottom somewhere, she said, you understand our position because she's from the municipal level of politics before. That's her background. So moved and receipt, moved and seconded for receipt of the letter. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Parking concern during Cariboo Memorial Hospital.
Clerks note that the letter from William and Kim McKeveny dated November 13th, 2025 regarding concerns about parking during the Cariboo Memorial Hospital renovations be received for information.
Moved and seconded. Anything to add from Mr. Maraca on this letter for the parking issue?
Thanks, Your Worship. So staff received the letter. We responded to both Interior Health as well as the contractor, and we advised them that if that we will be stepping up enforcement, and if anybody's parked within 1.5 meters of the driveway, they will be automatically towed by the City of Williams Lake. And we did follow up with the property owners and the people that composed the letter. Since then, I think we've received some other comments. I think one of the emails I just read was about 2-hour parking, and that's one thing that we will look into. 2-hour parking, although we could do something, these people are just, if you're parking in front of somebody's driveway, you're just ignoring the rules anyways. Like, I mean, they're going to ignore 2-hour parking if they're going to ignore parking in front of somebody's driveway. So I think it comes down to eventually you just got to step up enforcement and start towing people and making sure it hits them in the pocketbook, because that's the only thing they're going to listen to.
I usually drive around, I'm a habit to drive around when I was a public works chair years back. I have the same nature. I drive around, I go, I check. I make no bones when I watch. I door knock a lot of people. If their drive is blocked, I tell them what their rights are. They should call the Bylaw people, and people take it. We have ticketed quite a bit in the area. And then last action we took it was, if I correctly remember, we eliminated the one side of the road parking. Numerous road we have deleted that. It used to be both sides you can park. In my baby Porsche, one day I was going very slow. Somebody saw me, and before I reached my destination, which was City Hall, they called me and said, "How do you like driving through?" The question was, what would you do if our house is on fire? How would you bring your fire engine truck, which need a lot more, which is a lot more wider? I discussed the matter with the CEO, and within an hour or so, his order was to eliminate the one-side parking on the number of streets. And that was the first action. This is the second action. I still encourage people, please, even though your letter is received, don't waste a minute. If your drive is blocked, even 6 inches, 1 feet, call the bylaw right away. That's my request. And I would not bear any safety concern. I stand with you. When your drive is blocked, I cannot put your life on jeopardy. And that is my request to you. Mr. Maraca.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Just to add to that, when we followed up and we started investigating, and that's why we contacted Interior Health, it appears that their staff are choosing to park on the streets rather than park in their own parking lot because of the stairs climbing up to the hospital. So we just made Interior Health aware that that is a fact that we've been able to see. And yeah, and well, the contractors rented the church parking. It's full. Yes. It's got a lot of stuff, but they choose to park on the streets, and unfortunately now we're gonna step up enforcement.
Okay, any question, concern, Mr. Nelson, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Worship. Yeah, it's, I've seen pictures, I've had phone calls, I've driven up there. It's chaotic and it's a crisis. And you can call and the bylaw goes up there, and then 30 minutes later, they're back in the same spot, or another person's back in that same spot. So I appreciate the extra work that's going on, but I do want to be on the record that we are going to follow this up, because we've got another 3 to 4 years of construction, and I know that people are upset up there. I got it. I've seen guys park on people's front lawns, for heaven's sake. So it's a matter of really stepping up the enforcement side. So I was going to, and I think, and I appreciate the updated information, but I was just going to add and further request staff to work with Interior Health and the construction guys and bylaw department to ensure parking regulations are followed and the impact of parking in and around the hospital is respectful to the residents. Like, if we could add that as a friendly amendment, I'd like to be on record. That way we know, and maybe a follow-up in 3 months, because it is chaotic. I kid you not. Guys have texted me pictures where they've gone, bylaw's gone up there, 30 seconds later, somebody's back in the same spot. So I think we just need to be much more respectful for the residents up there. They've got another 4 years of construction taking place up there. So I just really want to clamp down on it.
I totally agree with you, Councillor.
So is that a favorable amendment?
I have no difficulty if the seconder mover's okay
Thank
with
you.
that. Mr. Maraca, please.
Yeah, that's happened, but if you want to be on record and have that, that's happening. And I think part of it is that the reason why staff are suggesting tow first, ask questions later, is that even with 2-hour parking, all they're going to do, we're going to chalk the tires and they're going to pull up a foot.
Perfect.
So, I mean, and now we're just tired of it as well as staff, because people would rather come down to, if we catch them and pay their $20 ticket and park there for the day. That's the same as parking anywhere in Prince George or Kamloops. You're paying for parking now. So it's time to, if you're blocking a driveway, you get towed.
Great.
When we was discussing the agenda this afternoon, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm driving to Vancouver, I get stopped and over speeding at 100 Mile House. Then I get stopped in Cache Creek, I get stopped in Hope. Guess what's going to happen, the superintendent of vehicle, what he's going to do to me? I know it's extra work. I sincerely feel the pain of the residents in the area. And I know maybe I'm asking too much, but my request is, city is there to serve you, help you. Please call. If you have to call 10 times, call 10 times. If the staff does not respond, you call me. I am on, every dog and cat got my number. You call me anytime. You call me, I'll make sure Mr. Maraca hear your complaint, and he look after that. And it has happened in the past on numerous occasions, on numerous areas. I'm sorry, but I have to say this thing. Please call. It's extra work for you folks. And I'll make sure, I'll repeat my number, 250-392-0909. Very simple number. Mr. Taylor, you had my number. I know it's flagged with you, but I'm glad you recorded once again. And we will look after. We'll make sure it takes place in staff. Okay, no further discussion.
Perhaps Mr. Taylor could put it on the radio when somebody's parking in front of his house.
And that's a good one. Yeah. No, we call Mr. Maraca. If he's busy, call me. I'll take the phone call. We'll look after, okay?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
100%. I'm sorry, Worship.
Yeah, please.
So it's going to come down to are the people that William and Kim McCavaney, are they here as well? No? Okay. Well, they composed the letter as for the agenda, but we're going to do proactive enforcement. So the tow trucks are just going to be sent there.
We came to support them, hope to meet them, because there is exactly what we get.
Yeah.
Scott knows, Aaron knows.
Yeah. So basically, even without the call for bylaws, the intent will be for the tow truck is going to be up there engaging, blocking driveways and start getting people in the pocketbook.
We're going to be very.
I just for record, I went to see Mr. Taylor a couple of times for different reasons. I couldn't even find parking. I called Mr. Maraca. He knows that. And I make no bones. And please call. We'll make sure. I'm not going to go write ticket. Mr. Maraca not going to go write ticket. He's going to send his troops, obviously. And Bylaw going to go because they have the authority. Not I had the authority or Mr. Maraca had it, or I don't know. I don't want to get there. But please call. That's my request to everyone. Okay? And we will make sure. Anytime.
Starting when you get home tonight.
Even, no, I get called 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kidding you. Not that I ask everybody to call me middle of the night, but when you are ready, call me. Please.
Yeah, and just to be aware, if they are parking there and it's this time of night and you can actually show the distance between the driveway and stuff like that, even if the bylaws aren't working and stuff like that, if you submit the license plate number and you submit that distance, we'll issue the ticket the next day. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Everything you said, we've done.
Okay. We'll take care of the towing.
Okay, all in favor? Oppose, if any, carried unanimously. Thank you, sir. Sorry for the circumstance you people have to go through. Okay, there's a late item, couple of them, and first one is Councillor Flaspohler, then Scott. That's one.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so I've taken upon myself to put a local late item onto the table for discussion tonight, because I think it's really, really important. I've titled it Local Official Conduct, Respect and Appropriate Apology for Discussion. And it's because one of my colleagues had done a social media post that has upsetted a lot of the community, also myself. I know some of my colleagues. We've received a lot of emails and a lot of feedback from individuals in the community that are very concerned about it. And they're concerned and wanting to see this council take action. So I've kind of...
Excuse me, sorry for interruption. Don't we need the motion before we discuss? Or it's okay? Procedurally, I'm asking.
Typically, you can move and second the motion discussion, but
Could we have the motion, please? Okay, and your motion is, did you have the copy? Okay, did you read? Here. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you're going to put the actual, my recommendation in?
Well, whatever, I don't know. Mr. Okay, go ahead, whatever you had.
Go ahead, Ross.
is this what you want to? It's
Well,
your
no, that's my recommendation. So that's what
Okay.
I was trying to say, is just
Okay, we will read
discussion
your
for
recommendation.
local official conduct, respect, and appropriate apology for discussion. That is my agenda item. Do you want to vote on that?
Sorry,
We've already-
I think the mayor's just wondering, we need a mover and seconder and then
First,
discussion.
I need the motion. What's your motion? You're gonna move, then I'll get somebody to second it.
You just did it. Now
Yeah.
someone's gonna second it.
Okay, you got seconded? Okay, moved and seconded. Now, you go ahead, please. This is the
Okay.
motion.
I thought because it was already moved and seconded
No,
as a
that
late
wasn't.
item,
We
that it
only,
was
please stop.
accepted.
Late item was
Okay.
accepted.
In that, I just feel that we need to really respect the community that is asking us to discuss this, address it if we can. I know that, there's multiple emails. I can't state everything that was on those emails, but I definitely can speak to a bunch of it. I feel myself that as a local official, we're the face of a community. We're what represents a whole community. And it's really important for us to present ourselves in a professional manner, in a manner that creates trust, in a manner that shows that we're listening to everyone, we're representing everyone. And that's why this discussion needs to be had. Some of the requests that came from some of the emails that we got were like this. It said, as a council, they'd like to see public acknowledgement that certain Facebook posts are not a reflection of the council, that reaffirmation of the city's respect for media, a reminder of the expectations of conduct for an elected official, and then also potential use of the code of conduct. These are the requests that came through quite seriously to us. I personally agree with these concerns. We need to hold ourselves at a higher level of conduct. If we can't show respect towards all aspects and individuals of this community, how do we expect it in return? I think it's super critical. How can people trust us in decisions we have to make? Let me just read some of the expectations of us in these roles. So at each of our desks, we have our oath of office. And on the oath of office, it says, one of the things, I will be respectful of others. Another one, I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration. We swear on these. These are the things that we need to do in these roles, whether we are in these chambers or even outside of these chambers. That is the expectation of a community, and I expect that of myself. That is how I want to conduct myself, and I expect it of my colleagues. We also have a code of conduct, and I'm going to read some of the aspects of the code of conduct just so the community understands what's in it if they've never looked at it. Ones that I feel are relevant to the situation. So number 6 is integrity, and 6A says behaving in a manner that promotes public confidence in the city. Section 8 is respect. 8A, treating every person, including other council or committee members, staff, and the public with dignity. C says, creating an environment of trust, including displaying awareness and sensitivity around comments and language that may be perceived as derogatory. 9, leadership and collaboration. A, demonstrating behavior that builds and inspires public trust and confidence in local government. 14, discrimination, harassment, and workplace behavior. A, council members must treat members of the public, council, and staff with respect and without bullying, abuse, or intimidation. 15, use of social media. C, council members will refrain from using or permitting the use of their social media accounts for purposes that include 1, defamatory remarks, obscenities, profane language, and sexual content. This is in our code of conduct because these things make sense. These are the ways that we need to act. I viewed the social media posts that people were concerned about, and honestly, I was disgusted. I can't believe that somebody would want to post that and put it out to a community. And in all honesty, do that to the media. Do that to an individual that comes in here and works hard and tries to do their job. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. In this room, we're here meeting after meeting. A lot of times the chairs are empty. Sometimes people view, sometimes they don't. The beautiful part of the media is they are here all the time. They don't get caught behind the smoke screens. They don't get caught behind social media posts that tell only part of the information. They're here to be a good journalist that is now looking at everything and trying to relay that to a community. We have to respect that as a council. As a community, we have to respect that. That's a tough job, and they're upheld with standards that they have to be truthful. If there's anything that's questionable, I know that Ruth has always, she's approached, she said, if there's anything that I don't have that's wrong, there, please let me know. We'll change it right away. I'm going to tell you right now, Facebook posts can put out anything they want. And it probably is going to be spun the way that makes the most sense for what they're trying to acquire. And we need to understand that as individuals of a community. So chastising media is not okay. I feel this council must act upon the request placed on us. This is truly fulfilling our role. We especially are not above good conduct. People have asked for code of conduct process to be used. I have my opinions on that. And if my colleagues want to use code of conduct, I will support it. But I also know you cannot unelect individuals. Individuals are elected, and you cannot have them pulled from their position just because they're not conducting themselves the way that we would expect. A vote does that. The next election does that. So that's why conversations are so important. It's important for people to recognize the conduct that you expect from somebody in these roles, and then remember that when you're at the election booth, because that's the most important. With our code of conduct, we could pull somebody from a committee. We could potentially make them apologize, but is it going to be genuine? I don't know. We could take their stipend away so they don't get the funds. Is that really going to do much? I think community sometimes thinks a code of conduct actually can do quite a lot, and it doesn't. It makes you people with the integrity accountable, as it should, but it doesn't have the teeth that a lot of people wish for. So I have a recommendation that I want to put out to the table. I also want to give the opportunity for my colleagues to speak on this because I think the community really wants to hear what we have to say. Myself, personally, I would love to see that my colleague, Councillor Nelson, would choose to do a sincere apology to Ruth Lloyd and also to the Tribune. To me, that's what I think would be the most ideologic.
Could we please refrain the name, if you don't mind?
Yeah,
Please. Refrain the name, talk in general.
okay.
Refrain
And then,
a name we can discuss in camera.
okay, and then I would also like to state my recommendation, if you guys want me to do that now or later.
I thought there was a motion on the floor.
So, sorry, Your Worship, I think there was some confusion. I think that was the item that you passed. I think
Yeah.
that was moved in second. That's what's being discussed now, I believe. is my
The
understanding.
motion, if I may, you want me to read the motion?
No, we never did speak of the recommendation.
No, that's what the motion, we are talking on this motion. Do you agree with this motion or you want to amend this motion?
Sorry.
Please.
Sorry, Your Worship. I can see where the confusion is. I think it wasn't actually read out, but I think that was the confusion before. I think
Okay,
that was the-
okay.
Okay.
So where do we
So,
go from here?
I can read the recommendation right now. So my recommendation is that council provide a formal apology to the Williams Lake Tribune and journalist Ruth Lloyd, reaffirming our appreciation and respect towards the journalism they do for our community. And further, that council publicly state that comments by a single elected official does not reflect the position or opinion of the council. And further, publicly state that council as a whole expects a higher standard of conduct from its officials and does not approve or support behavior that is slanderous, derogatory, and disrespectful towards any member of the community or business within.
That was the motion I had in my hand. That was the one moved and seconded yourself and Councillor Delaney. Okay, that's what we are talking about.
Perfect.
Okay, are you done?
Yes,
I can
thank you.
give the floor to somebody else now?
Yes?
Okay, anybody, Councillor Moses, please, next.
Thank you, Your Worship. First off, I want to point out that our one and only mayor is Surinder Paul Rathore. He is our primary spokesperson for the council, and he is the only one who can represent council. None of my other colleagues have permission to speak on my behalf. None of you. I may agree or disagree with any one of you on any given account, but you may never give criticism or apologize on my behalf, except for the mayor.
Thank you.
Secondly, I want to talk for a bit on why journalism is a realm that politicians should not try to manipulate, intimidate, or discredit, because a free and independent press is one of the key pillars that keeps democracy alive. It keeps people informed, holds those in power like us accountable, and creates a shared space for debate and dissent that elections and other democratic processes depend on. Democracy assumes voters can make choices based on facts, not rumors and propaganda. Journalism serves that need by gathering, checking, and explaining information about government, public policy, and community life so people can decide what to support and what to oppose. When news organizations provide accurate, contextual reporting, citizens are more likely to participate in elections and civic life in a meaningful, informed way. Crucially, journalism is not just there to praise politicians when we get something right. It also acts as a watchdog, investigating and exposing corruption, misuse of public funds, abuse of authority, and failures in public institutions that might otherwise remain hidden. The knowledge that our actions can be scrutinized and made public deters wrongdoing and pressures leaders and governments like us again to correct problems and behave more ethically. Democracies also need constant, informed debates about which problems matter, what causes them, and which solutions are worth trying. Journalism supplies the facts, expert perspectives, and on-the-ground stories that make those debates possible. When news outlets test claims, correct falsehoods, and present multiple perspectives, they help build a shared sense of reality and reduce the influence of propaganda and disinformation. Research around the world shows that where local and national journalism is strong and independent, corruption is lower, government performs better, and civic engagement is higher. In other words, a healthy press makes democracy more resilient to authoritarian tendencies. That is why politicians should strengthen journalism's independence instead of trying to bend it to our advantage. When journalism is weaker, democracy is weaker. And when journalism is stronger, the public we serve is stronger. Journalism is the public's one early warning system. It tells us when something is wrong before it becomes irreversible. I'd like to give you a few quotes before I finish here. The first one is from the Students Vote Canada. A healthy democracy requires journalists to keep those in power accountable and to inform citizens. In identifying reliable sources of information, we can look to organizations and individuals that adopt professional standards and are accountable for mistakes. And the second one is from our own government of Canada. Canada strongly believes that media freedom remains an important part of democratic societies and essential to the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms. People need free media to provide them with accurate information and informed analysis to hold governments to account. Journalism continues to evolve into the digital space, and there is a need to address new threats to media freedom. Journalists and other media professionals are some of the main targets of digital attacks and abuse. So among other reasons, these are why I'm taking this agenda item so seriously. We're on a really slippery slope right now, and I want to make sure that as a council, we take a step back and make sure that we continue on our collaborative path that we've been building in this community. So I missed the second on this motion, but I am in support of it. And I do have a separate motion for the same agenda item that I'd like to make afterwards.
Let's finish this one, then
Yeah,
we can.
thank you, Worship.
Anybody else wanted to address or speak? Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just disappointed we even have to have this conversation, to be honest. When we have to have these types of conversations and we have to start investigating ourselves, it costs time and money, and it takes away from the ability to do the good work that we're supposed to be here doing. I do not agree with the statements that have been out there. I 100% agree with both of my colleagues, Councillor Moses and Councillor Flaspohler, on the mayor is the spokesperson. I'm not interested in entertaining a code of conduct. You know, we want to spend $15,000 to $20,000 investigating one of ourselves. That comes out of taxation. I think that's poor use of money. And I'll be completely honest, I think the codes of conduct are a joke. I think they're nice words written down on a piece of paper and they don't have any teeth. They don't have any teeth unless council is willing to spend taxation money and start investigating themselves. So, you know, if you want different, you vote different. And that's what I'm going to ask the community to do. And we're in an election this next year. If you want to see different people at the table, then I would say you rally your people, you get your people to the table, and you start putting different candidates forward so that we're not in these situations, because these type of situations are a drain. They are not good for our reputation. They're at a disparage to our community, to the people that are involved in them. And it's a complete waste of time. And it's really, to me, it's just quite upsetting. It's quite upsetting to even have to have this conversation at all. So I'm in support of the motion, I think, and then we can move forward and just do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody, Councillor Lyon, please.
So, yeah, councillors need to strive to share accurate information. Referencing local news media as well as council minutes has always been beneficial, at least for me. I know that I always double check what I'm about to say before I say it. We, as well as local journalists, need to be able to focus on more than one issue at a time. People are struggling, workers are losing their jobs, user groups are also working 3 times harder, volunteers are doing everything they can to improve our city. We've been elected to fight for and represent Williams Lake. We need to strive to do better and voice our opinions with integrity. We want people to invest in Williams Lake, and they're not going to want to invest in us if we don't have responsible representation.
Councillor Beam.
Thank you, Your Worship. As most of you know, I'm not on social media. And there's a reason very often that I don't go on there. It's because it can go either way. It can be your best friend and it can be your worst enemy. And I think there's been more than one person run into issues on this area. And so I personally stay off it for the most part. I mean, the odd transfer or look at something I've been asked to look at. So I do have it. In this country, it is still free speech, whether you like it or not, and that is why you haven't got it, even for elected officials. There are some dreadful things elected officials have been done and stay in that seat until they're elected. And to my point, of course, I think everyone that should be on there should be respectful. Do I think it happens? No. Do I think that people say things they shouldn't in a hot moment? Yes. It's partly why I'm not there. It's partly why I don't do it. I think it's ridiculous. I think everything put on there, it should be left to the professionals most of the time because other people seem to think they can say and do whatever they want. And I don't think that's appropriate. And I personally, that's why I stay off it. So I don't know. I hate anything to do with it all. So I think it's all very awful. And it's personally to me, if you can't say something nice, you should usually not say anything. But that isn't my choice. My choice, and as I said, the election is every 4 years, and you get to decide who runs. And there are people getting paid to be in roles they should never have been elected to, and yet there is very little teeth, as Councillor Delaney points out, to anything. So that's kind of how I feel. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Nelson.
Well, thank you very much, Your Worship, and I appreciate my colleagues' comments around the table, and by no means is it a reflection of my comments for this council table. Those were personal comments that I did make, and I did, in the heat of the moment, say some colorful words. And Ruth, I do apologize to you personally for the comments that I made. It's not reflective typically of my character. And I do want to apologize to you personally on that. These words that I said were not reflective of this council, and I apologize to my colleagues around this table. That was not the intent by any means. And I apologize to the community just to ensure that they're aware that the words that I spoke were colorful and the heat of the moment, and I'm just apologetic. It's just not my typical character, and I do understand the sense of the motion that's in front of us, and I support it very much. I used to be a newspaper owner, and I guess when I sat back and really thought about it at the end of the day, was even more to the point was the fact that it's actually Ruth's last month, so it hurt me even more after I thought about that, and so it means that much more to stand up and I accept the responsibility. And it's there are different ways of being able to create dialogue, and in the heat of the moment, I got it, and I do apologize, and I'm sincere about that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. I'll take a little kick on the can. I don't know where to start. The respect is both two ways. It's not a one-way street. Everybody knows in the community, I've been living here 51 years, how much I respect people. That's not to say I've never made a mistake. I have. But the greatest person is who own the mistake and back off and learn from it. That's what I admire. I really appreciated all the comment came from the table, particularly from you, Councillor Nelson. You are showing me big heart, not to me, but the community. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We are the leader. I had a little incident to share with you. When I was a councillor, we went through the alternate mayors. It was the 19th of October. That's my birthday. That's how I remember this incident. And we was adding the South Lake side to the addition to the water and sewer we provided And this particular person, I won't name it, works with me and came to me. He can't pronounce my name. He will call me Rafter. Hey, Rafter, how could you save me money? I said, well, I'm not supposed to tell you because money is calculated based on the parcel. But I'll tell you quietly. Today, I'll admit that. When I told him, and he requested the city, a long story, I'm cutting this short, we have to amalgamate his 4 lot to A1. It is still A1. He saved $30,000. He came here as the acting mayor. When I go away, different council members sit on my chair. They conduct the council business. And it took me, first of all, week and a half to 2 weeks to learn how to pronounce his name. I said that name, Mr. So-and-so, you have anything to add or delete? He was standing on the podium. His eyeball went like this. We closed the public hearing. He came, stood right here, putting his both hands. He said, I never heard that language from your mouth in the mill. My answer to him was, we speak the language in the mill, which people understand. But in City Hall, this is the language we need to speak. I still remember the story. The family still admire me. When you are in Rome, you do what Romans do. I had utmost respect for the Tribune, for Ruth. Tribune was one of the very first jobs when I came to this community as a freelancer. I make no bones. Everybody knows that. We, as a leader, we have to lead by personal example. These are the emails. Some of them I printed. I couldn't even put in the paper clip. It's in the other, whatever the heck we call it. Thursday morning till 10 after 4, I was responding email. The people wrote the email to me, to mayor and council, or to council. They can verify that. If my wife didn't kick me out of the house, it's her fault, not my fault. I didn't left any option that why she should not kick me out. 10 after 4, I fall to sleep. Mr. Maraca had to wake me up 20 after 8 by calling me on the phone for something. Then I received a call from Councillor Nelson also. Friday morning, 10 after 2, I was replying the email. I'm trying my best to bring the positive news from the City Hall. It's like this. I try to make the fist stronger. Sometimes this finger goes haywire. If I fix it, sometimes this finger goes haywire. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I prepared a statement for me because I knew I'll be all over the place if I didn't write. I didn't even go home today all day. Staff knows. Thanks to Ms. Weenkamp, she provided me something to eat just before the council meeting. That's how I'm hurt. I feel it. I sincerely, yes, I'm the spokesperson for the city by bylaw, by resolution, thanks to Councillor Moses. I accept the whole blame on me. I'm sorry, Ruth, to you and to the Tribune on behalf of the council. The resolution reads, and we will send you in writing something. I prepared the statement. Over the last several days, I have received many calls, messages, and concern over the residents regarding comment made publicly by member of council toward local reporter and William Lake Tribune. Council operates under a code of conduct, there's no question. My colleagues have told you what code of conduct mean, what is the rules and regulation for council member are. I won't go there. that guide our behavior and ensure that we treat residents, staff, media, and one another with great dignity and respect. Because of this matter has created public concern, like I said, how many emails I received, I know my computer, I haven't deleted any email. I will be referring it through our established code of conduct process so it can be revised fairly, neutrally, and without personal bias. This is not about punishment to anybody. This is not accusing anybody. It's about maintaining the integrity of the council, ensuring we meet the expectation of our community. You elected this council. This council is not to tell you what to do. You are tell the council what you want us to do. It is our job to deliver that, being one way or the other. Do I have to kiss somebody's butts in Victoria or Ottawa? It's up to me. But you tell me what you want me to do, and that's my prime job to do it. I want to be very clear, our media plays an important role in keeping the public informed. Like my colleague, somebody said it earlier, you may be here, you may not be here. It's the media. They attended equally meeting as I or council member do. They report to you, you read it, you listen it on the radio or in the paper. And respectful communication is essential to the trust our residents place in us. It's very important. At the same time, every member of council deserves a fair, impartial process, and that is exactly what will take place. We are all human. We have made a mistake. I'll say I had made more mistake than anybody here. I always learn from them. Like I said earlier, I back off. I try my best not to repeat them. I have done it. I made mistake on this year. In the very beginning of my tenure, I apologized and backed off. My commitment is to professionalism, accountability, and the well-being of our community. I ask for your patience and respect as we follow the process outlined in our code of conduct. We are all working, we'll keep working. And like I said earlier, I sincerely apologize on behalf of the council. The Tribune, my good friend Ruth, or anybody, you don't deserve this. You don't have to go through. But mistake is made. Let's give another chance to my council, and hopefully it will be better tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. If there's any question, any other person want to repeat second time, otherwise we will call the question. Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution? Carried unanimously. Mr. Moser, you had another.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I have an extra motion. I have it all typed out for you, and I can
Please.
show it to you right after, Ross, if you want to see it.
Yeah.
Whereas the City Council reviews the Council's Code of Conduct, policy number 228, annually before May 1st to ensure it continues to meet the Council's needs and legislated requirements, I make the motion that the annual review of the Council's Code of Conduct, policy number 228, be scheduled for 2026. Also, the Council directs staff to review and strengthen the social media and interactions with public and media sections of the Council Code of Conduct, policy number 228, with recommendations to address this very specific agenda item that we've had tonight.
I need Councillor Flaspohler seconded. Any discussion? Councillor Blaney?
Not that I disagree with the motion, but we've already done this. We actually already tried to put social media pieces in it, and it failed. It failed due to free speech. Like, we've had this conversation before. I mean, staff can bring back the exact same report. I don't imagine they're going to be spending any more time looking at this because nothing has changed. And then maybe we'll have a different conversation, but we've had this conversation. So
I'll get staff to respond that, and I'll get you both, but before Councillor Flaspohler staff, I just wanted to make a comment on this. It's not a bad idea to have a review. I sit on different board, other board, and so you do. You do the same thing. I think having annually these quick look at it, either by CU or somebody, and on the bottom attach, no further action be taken, or based on what goes around for the year, CEO can make a recommendation that this should be addressed. And I think it's not a bad idea. The way I took it, Councillor Moses' motion is that we review it. That's in a nutshell.
But we do have that already in place. We do review. It
Okay,
is something that's part of
I got a
the
Councillor Flaspohler and Moses, but before that, Mr. Baraka.
Thanks, your worships. Is further to Councillor Delaney's, the code of conduct is council's code of conduct. It has nothing to do with the City of Williams Lake staff, senior management. It's your code of conduct, and Councillor Delaney is absolutely right that when a proposed code of conduct came to this council, it included this very thing about social media. And when we'll bring it back, the exact wording and stuff like that, it was voted out by this council because it censored this council, and it was unanimous that council didn't want that wording in their policy. Oh, it was unanimous. It was voted
Well,
out.
at least voted on.
It was voted down that you didn't want that wording. We'll bring back the wording, just as further to Council Day.
fair enough.
But it was exact wording of what you're talking about right now, and we'll bring that back.
Hold on, folks. Mr. Cope.
Sorry, Your Worship, just for the table. So one thing we are expecting, and we're getting a lot of heavy traffic about this, is that the province is likely going to be amending the code of conduct requirements. So my only recommendation would be to tie it in with that, because we do expect them to, we have no idea what's going to happen, but we do expect something to
Okay,
down.
Councillor Flaspohler, then Councillor Moses.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I support the motion. I know that it is part and parcel for us to do revision. But I think it's good to have those items re-looked at again, because situations make people sometimes start to look at things differently. And that is where we're at right now, is now we've experienced some other things that make us view topics and discussions differently. So I think it's important. I just support it for that reason. Thank you.
Councillor Moses.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I agree. We already do have it in the actual policy that we review this yearly. I understand that. I'm asking that we schedule it. I'm asking that we actually do the review instead of just say, check mark it, oh, it's still there. I want us to actually improve it. I recognize it isn't the strongest tool, but it is the only tool that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Worship.
Any question anymore? Hearing none, all in favor? Oh, you're, oh, okay, please, do that.
And I understand what Council Moses is bringing to the table, and I don't dispute it. I support it. However, I do think that based on that, we know something's coming from the province. If we can follow up to see even an idea of when that might be coming, because I'd hate to have. I mean, not that a whole pile of extra work's going to go into this, because we're going to get the same as we had, but it would be nice to have what the province has. We need that, because likely we would do some work and then have to undo it anyway. So just if we can align that up, so we're not doing work that we're gonna have to undo later or change.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried unanimously. Councillor Nelson, you had.
Thank you very
something
much,
to
Your Worship. Mine has to do with the forestry issue. Specifically, the recommendation, Your Worship, I'll just read it, is forestry resolution. That council recognizes the forest industry is in a critical crisis state, and further requests: 1, Ottawa and the BC to remove the red tape when it comes to cutting permits in BC immediately. 2, that resources be implemented to allow companies to get those permits, licenses in a maximum of up to 2 months. 3, that laid off workers in the forest communities receive additional benefits to top up the salaries, and UI benefits to be extended to assist in transitions. 4, that the feds and the province provide a clear strategic emergency crisis plan for employees, companies, and the resource-based communities to backstop these forest communities. And 5, that the economic development team coordinate a regional economic summit to advance our regional goals in a coordinated effect. Thank you.
Did you capture all?
I've got it all written out.
Oh, he got, okay. I need somebody second the motion. I'll second it if nobody else. Discussion, it's very important, our industry, and which we're going on, and like, I don't know if the people in the audience, the committee have heard, there's 370 people going to lose the job permanently in the island. It's a major concern. And we wanted to make sure our committee don't fall in that. Anything further?
Well, the 5 recommendations, Your Worship, are to really stimulate the growth and the talks to ensure that we've got the federal and the provincial governments on side to, 1, help the employees that are getting laid off, 2, to backstop the communities, and 3, to help the companies out. Really what I'm trying to do here is to look to create a regional perspective of what's taking place and ensure that the highlights of potential impacts across the board are being addressed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? Oh, Councillor Delaney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I'm going to support, it's basically just advocacy is what you're asking for.
Correct.
But I think if you're going to take a regional support, you should take this over to joint and ask for their support as well too, and see if you can get some letter writing or campaign going on there.
Good point.
Just for your information, council information, on Friday, I'm going to the board meeting at the regional district. There's people from the forestry coming. I believe the area forester and other. If there's any question, concern you had, I'll make sure I get this resolution typed and get it from Mr. Coupe tomorrow. But let me know if you had anything burning in your mind, either email me or message me no later than Thursday afternoon, please. So that way I can prepare my notes, okay? All in favor? Opposed? If any, carried unanimously. Before we go to, well, according to the list, there's a round table. Oh, sorry. Information packet, please.
The clerk's note that the council information package for December 2nd be received for information.
So moved.
Hold on, guys. Okay, moved and seconded, Mr. Maraca.
Thanks, Your Worship. So I just like to pull something out that will be provided to council, and it is a response to Bill M216, the Professional Reliance Act. This is something that UBCM has extended the date till January. City of Williams Lake, through our planning section, will be having a response related to this bill that was introduced by someone as a backbencher, just basically to put more reliance on professionals and take away the ability for local governments to have any kind of enforcement or oversight that we traditionally have. Everybody, every municipality, every regional district is voicing their concerns on this bill, as well as saying that they do not support it. And the regional district's writing their letter, and it's imperative that the city of Williams Lake puts our comments in there. So we'll be writing a letter for council to consider and review, and you can read the ones that are in here based on the flavor of the table of what the concerns are from View Royal, as well as, who was it, Pitt Meadows. These are the only 2 of the examples, and UBCM has extended it because they're getting inundated with a bunch of response, and it's nobody supporting this. Okay.
Okay, quickly on the last bullet, the Winter Light Parade, it's happening on December 6th, 5 p.m. I encourage every council member, the community to come out and support. It will be starting at the Britannia Park, past the Save on Food, I believe, back of the Save on Food. So everybody should attend. That's all from me. All in favor of the receipt? Opposed, if any, carried unanimously. And before we go to the round table, I wanted to have a water treatment update from the CEO, please. That's important.
Thanks, Your Worship. So the only thing I can update on right now is that we have reached out through our economic development officer that we are requesting a meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, and we want to have a conversation about where we go once we have a conversation with Interior Health. We are getting no concrete feedback or questions answered from Interior Health at this time, and we need some information because we have to know our next steps before we could provide a report to council about borrowing, internal borrowing, or anything like that, because we can't proceed not knowing the fact if senior levels are going to force us through this project.
Just for the community's information, during the UBCM, some of the council member, we all went to the UBCM in Victoria, and like always, we try to, how should I say, try to push to the premier and the minister, respective minister, on the individual, and now I can go public because getting frustration. And the Premier asked me to send the email detailing everything, and staff have done that, and to the Premier, particularly him personally, and couple minister, I have sent that as a personal note, and I haven't heard anything. I'm hopeful. I know, hopefully they'll help me, help us, help the council, help the city, help our community. Like every time they've done it, they might wait till the last minute. I do not want it to wait till the last minute. I can't wait till the last minute. And that is the reason staff is working on it. Whatever happened, it happened. Please.
Thanks, Your Worship. So one of the correspondence that's even on this agenda is the letter, the correspondence from the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, Christine Boyle, and it talks about the water treatment plant in there, and it just thanks us for bringing our issues to her, and then just says, see you later. So that's the response we're at right now.
Councillor Delaney.
Mr. Mayor, if the CAO has done his report, I would recommend that we skip roundtable this evening because it's 8:30.
I have no
And
issue.
we have in camera.
Yeah, we got lots of time, yes. Yeah. Oh, you want to, okay.
I have more to say.
Yeah, he had more, he hasn't done yet. Yeah, but you're done with the budget in 19 December.
Move adjournment.
Yeah, so.
Okay, hold on, guys. CEO had one more thing to say.
Yeah, the only thing I would remind the community based on this is that we do have the open house. The mayor mentioned that earlier. So make sure that the community comes out to, on December 9th to the presentation and talks about the projects. And we will be streaming the budget meeting tomorrow at noon. So there'll be discussion there as well. And yeah, just to fill out the survey that's on the website and ask any kind of questions when you come down here or send your questions in.
Based on the time, I had a Councillor Delaney move that we suspend today, bypass the roundtable. Somebody going to second it?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor. Motion carried, and this in camera.
Move
Hold on.
adjournment.
Motion for close.
Okay, closed meeting and moved and seconded. Councillor Nelson, Councillor Flaspohler, all in favor. Carried unanimously. We'll take a 1 minute break so the staff can. Oh, sorry, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor. Thank you. Carried.